previously, Rachel explained that her mother had problems in workplace conflict and that she didn't handle them properly, so she in turn had to suffer the consequences of not staying where she was and not handling it properly, so she didn't get the outcome that she was expecting. And this just goes to show that workplace conflict does happen in real life, and it's something that should be addressed, and you should know what you're doing whenever you're faced with these problems. There are different reasons for conflict. There is goals in general, baseline goals, what goals you want to reach. There's reaching the goals, whenever you may agree on the goal you're trying to go towards, but you may not agree on the path leading that direction. There's scarcity of resources. There's differences in relationships. You may have a better relationship with one coworker than another. There's unequal power distribution. There might be somebody saying, you do this, do that, while the other person is just sitting there, you know, wanting them to ask nicely, or they understand that they're above them. There's unequal power distribution, and that's basically, that could be a problem. There's unclear role expectations, where somebody may expect something out of one of their employees, but they didn't tell them, so the employee is left without knowing what they should be doing. There's lack of information. There's values, differences in values, and face saving. There are also different ways to resolve conflict. There's understanding different conflict communication styles. There's the ability of receiving and giving criticism, because that's a big point that people should know, is that sometimes when somebody's criticizing you, it's not to be taken personally. It's just to better the outcome and the process as a whole. There's emotional control, there's ways to negotiate properly, and there's an open door policy as well, knowing that you're welcome and that you don't have to worry about getting shut down just because you're trying to address a conflict. There's peer review, there's ombudsman, there is also union management model that explains ways to resolve conflict. There's mediation, arbitration, and fact-finding as well. Lilia explained that people need to have a healthy exchange of ideas and creativity in general, because that's really where the baseline is people butt heads because they just have differences in opinions. There are different types of conflict. There's values conflict, which is incompatibility of things such as religion, ethics, or politics. There is power conflict, where each individual wants to better their own self, opposed to working together to reach the better goal. There's organizational conflict, where there is inequalities in the organization of the employees. Nobody knows what they should be doing when they should be doing it. There's economic conflict, which is competing to attain scarce resources. There's interpersonal conflict, where two or more employees are bringing their personal issues into the conflict where they shouldn't be. They should be taken or handled separately. And then there is environmental conflict, which is external pressures outside of the organization as a whole. Cultural differences and personality issues are the two big reasons for conflict, because everybody has a different personality, and a lot of people come from different backgrounds or different ways to handle things, and these are things that should be handled in a way that you need to understand that not everybody is the same person, not everybody views it the same way, and not everybody has the same personality. So it's hard to work together if you're not going to be open-minded about things. Finally, Clara explained about solving workplace conflict. Many people are afraid of workplace conflict or don't know how to handle it if it were to come up in a workplace. And the first step is to listen. Listening is always the most important thing. You know, if you're not going to listen to the person, then you're not going to hear what they're saying, and you're not going to understand where the conflict started or how to take care of it. There's also, you can't be biased, because if you're going to side with one person and not listen to the other, then you're just setting yourself up for failure, because you're not going to be able to resolve it as a whole. You can't blame others because everybody has to have a part in the conflict. You know, you may not have listened properly, or they may have said it and you didn't hear it, or you may have said it and they didn't hear it, or any of those. But altogether, these should work together and create a long-term solution, because if you just create short-term solutions, then what's the point of resolving the conflict at all? Because it's not going to matter next week. Like, you should solve things and hope that it can apply to later situations. And on a closing note, Mediate.com states that nothing is better than learning to make peace and resolve the inevitable disputes that will arise. This goes for workplace, this goes for talking to customers, this goes for families, this goes for friends, this goes for anything. Altogether, I hope my group mates and I helped you learn a little bit about workplace conflict and how to resolve it, and hopefully you're able to tackle any conflict that's faced your way. Thank you.